Hey guys, so there was a press release today from World Rugby about the way they're going to be using the TMO in the November tests. So I'll put the link to the official kind of media release in the description, but it says it's a closed trial revising the scope of the TMO in November, with the objective being to reduce TMO impact, is what World Rugby are saying. There's it's a 5-page document, but I'll go over some of the points that I found kind of particularly interesting. The first one I've put here is the on-field decision. So it says try scoring should be an on-field decision with the referee being responsible, but all team of four can contribute. So TMO, the 2 touch judges, and the ref can all contribute to the on-field decision of a try or no try. But ultimately, there's going to be an on-field decision. So, I mean, the way they've kind of given an example of this, and we see it a lot in Super Rugby, and to be honest, I don't know how much credit any of us, including myself, give the guys who run the game, but for mine, the on-field decision thing was a welcome addition to Super Rugby, because try or no try is a bit of an easy out for a ref. They just throw it over to the TMO to make a decision, and you kind of get, I mean, there's always going to be controversial calls, but with the way it works with the on-field decision, the referee has to make a call. The example they're given here is, my on-field decision is a try, but can you check grounding? So unless you can absolutely see he lost it forward or something else, then it's a try. So, I mean, it works the same way as if it's a club game and there's no TMO. The ref has to go with that decision. Whatever he thought happened, maybe he has a quick word in his ear from his touch judge. Whatever they thought as a team happened goes as the initial decision. Unless there's clear evidence to overrule it, it's a try. So for me, that first one is a pretty welcome addition to the November tests. When I've been watching the Northern Rugby recently, it's a little bit jarring to see, and internationals generally, to see the whole try no try. I prefer, I mean, everyone's going to have a preference, but I prefer on-field decision. It's quicker, and I feel like it puts that responsibility back on the ref to make a call. And like, unless he's blatantly got it wrong, just go with it. Because sometimes try no try at the bottom of a maul, you can't see nothing. But if the ref, in his experience and from his point of view, which is perhaps closer than the best camera, if he's pretty sure somebody got it down, go with it unless you can prove otherwise. The next one, the on the run chat. That's going to be gone. They're putting a halt to that. So it says the on the run chat between match officials and the TMO for foul play will be removed, with the onus on the referee, who should only refer to the TMO on issues that are clear and obvious serious acts of foul play, blah, 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 blah. So basically, you know how it is sometimes, I mean, this is the way I'm interpreting it, is you're watching the game and, you know, something happens, the ref doesn't see it, or perhaps doesn't call an immediate penalty, and you see him kind of touch his ear, and the TMO's having a yarn to him about something. It sounds like that chat is going to be gone. It's going to be the ref that has to say, I think I've seen this, can you check it for me? That's the way I read it, but like I said, it's a 5-page document. You guys can have a look and see, but I suppose it's just to kind of reduce the stop-start nature of when the TMO interjects. And that's one thing that Super Rugby did have a lot of in the season just gone. We're seeing a lot less of it in the Rugby Championship as the TMOs interjecting into the game. It was pretty maddening during Super Rugby. Every few minutes, not every few minutes, but you know what I mean. Often enough, the TMOs calling in the ref's ear to stop the game, and we've got him, you know, on the big screen, frame by frame, going over stuff. So, yeah, unless it's really clear and obvious that the refs kind of want to have a better look at, they're not going to be chatting about it during the game. So it kind of makes sense to me. But I guess to kind of alleviate the fears that stuff's going to get missed, they're saying they are going to be able to review up to the restart. So a referee is going to be able to give the team a penalty. I think as they used a kick and touch as the example, is that so the referee grants the team a penalty. The team with the penalty takes a kick for touch, and up until that line out is thrown in, they still have time to look at the footage. So I guess he can send the TMO on a little mission to review the footage, and then if something happens, they can kind of come back to take action for it. But I guess the idea is to keep the game going. So take the kick for touch. Let's all get the line out set up and use that time or a kick for conversion or kick for the posts or whatever, use that time to review the footage rather than having us standing and waiting around all looking at the big screen together watching a slow motion replay. That is the way I read it. So, I mean, all of this stuff to reduce that stop-start nature of the game, it seems like a positive move to me. But they have also mentioned a couple of things that I'm not as keen on. One thing they've said is, they've said that the referee is the decision maker who must remain in charge. Cool, that's cool. That's the way it's supposed to be now. The TMO should be on microphone for any formal reviews, and they should use big screens where available. I'm not sure I'm that keen on this one. I mean, that's the kind of way it is now. You know, we get those shots zoomed in on the referee. He's got his hand to his earpiece, and you hear the conversation between him and the TMO. And honestly, those conversations get really awkward. And sometimes I feel, I mean, not every ref is the same in their way of dealing with it, but some refs, when the TMO is telling them something, even if it's not the way they initially saw it, and even not the way they see it on the big screen, if the TMO is telling them something that they don't agree with, they often just go with what the TMO is saying, because I guess it looks stupid to be disagreeing with each other on the screen. You don't want to go against your colleague, or you think he's got a better view because he's in front of an actual TV. He's got more angles at once. They've got a bunch of TVs they can look at. He's just looking at one big screen. For me, I think I would rather have that conversation just between them. We don't need to hear it as the fans. Let them sort it out. Let them have a natural conversation. Still, they need to, because they've got rules in this long dialogue thing, this document, about, you know, the ref must reaffirm what he says to the TMO to make sure he got the right decision before he goes ahead with it. That's fine, you can still do that, but I don't know that we need to hear it. Just tell us what the decision is at the end, and give a brief explanation. I know it's not going to be a popular thing in this regard, but if you watch it in American sports, a lot of the times when there's the equivalent of a TMO, the ref goes and looks at a tablet, so he has got like an HD view instead of looking at the big screen, which I don't see if you had a guy running out like a water boy or a ball boy or whatever. It's probably going to take about the same amount of time to get a tablet, get him with an earpiece, talking to the TMO. They can have a natural conversation where if the ref wants to overrule the TMO, he's not going to hurt anyone's feelings really, because nobody knows what happened. At the end, the ref just gives a one sentence, you know, penalty to this team for a high tackle, no yellow card or whatever. You know, just a quick summary. I don't know that we need to hear the conversation. I mean, it's not a huge deal, but to me, those conversations often seem awkward, and I feel like sometimes you can hear it in their voices when they're actually disagreeing with each other, but because the whole, you know, it could be thousands or even in the millions of people, if it's a really important game, are listening to their every word, they're kind of unable to have a proper conversation about it, and they just kind of go with the path of least resistance, which is to not argue and just go whatever they've said. So, yeah, this is what they're going to be trying in November. Like I said, I think it seems pretty sensible. On-field decisions tend to keep the game going. I know we want to get things right. We don't want to be missing stuff, but also I'm not a big fan of stopping the game every 5 minutes to review stuff. That being said, if stuff does get missed, I'm all in favor of guys getting bans after the games, longer bans, whatever. Because if guys start, I mean, if a natural reaction to this kind of thing is people start thinking they can get away with more, increase those punishments for them to kind of deter that behavior. But yeah. What do you guys think about these? Like I said, I'll put the description in the description the link in the description, so you guys can have a look at the full list of points. They've bullet pointed it down to 5 points, and then there's a link to a 5-page document, so if you want to read the whole thing. I had a quick read of it, and yeah, like I said, for the most part, pretty positive, but I still feel like there's stuff they could be doing better. But hey, it's just my opinion, and yeah, a lot of the time when they make these changes, there are unintended consequences, so we kind of got to see how the flow-on effects are from these changes. But you guys let me know your thoughts, and I'll talk to you again soon. See you later.